are we getting the most of our ROI? So really, we're spending money to run software and we're monetizing that somewhere. It could be through click ads, it could be subscriptions, it could be through third party things. I don't know exactly how you're monetizing, but really knowing that you're being as efficient as possible. And so the science of this or the practice of this, we call financial operations, FinOps. And actually, this is really interesting. It goes very much hand in hand with what I was talking about before in terms of performance. You also want, from an observability perspective, to say, am I providing the best performance at the cheapest price? Because that's my revenue, right? So the delta between those two things is the money you're going to make. One of the amazing things about cloud computing is it really enabled everybody to spin up resources just like immediately, right? And lots of them. So I can bring up computers, I can bring up containers, I can bring up databases. But that freedom and that ease of use is also a problem. What happens is you end up with a lot of cruft. I don't know that cruft is a technical term, but you end up with a lot of resources that aren't in use and no one's keeping an eye on. So that's the first low-hanging fruit problem we see is development environments. There's just tons of stuff laying around that nobody knows what it is or what it's for. And then the other thing is, are you actually using the cloud efficiently? The modern sort of cloud native techniques allow you to scale up to meet demand at your peak load and then scale back down to reduce price. We've actually done some calculations and you can save 30 to 60% of your spend on compute if you just scale correctly. The more sophisticated approach is to use these more sophisticated cloud native tools like Kubernetes or EKS, container services, and really get the packing model a little bit smaller so that things fit very well. But I think if you go to the Gartner report, the cloud report, maybe it's not Gartner, I think they said there's something like most enterprise companies spend $12 million plus on cloud service providers a year, and approximately 35% of that is wasted. Just looking at that, you say it's a third. That's $4 million a year a company could be saving. And we're in a really interesting time in 2023. A lot of companies have laid off 10 to 20% of their workforce in the tech industry. That's across the board, but I think it hits the engineering side of the houses pretty much at about the same rate. So you're in a time where money is really important and you've shortened the number or you've reduced the staff you have to work on these problems. So I think in 2023, FinOps is a hugely important practice to implement in a lot of organizations because you need to go after the rest of this savings. And that allows you to actually bring back in workers. Now, I know that's CapEx and OpEx, and they're in different buckets in the financial guys' heads. In my head, they're really not. The company has so much money. If you can save $4 million on your cloud spend, maybe you can bring back in a couple engineers to look at your security footprint or to look at your observability stack and really fix that.